Today I'm going to do something that might be a little tasteless, but I think the murder of Anne Widdicombe has opened up one or two perspectives which are worth considering. In fact, more than worth considering, I think is vital. The headline, which I have above, "Society Punishes People with a Mind of Their Own. Is Widdicombe its latest victim?" appeals to fashionable ignorance about the nature of society. It's an abstraction with massive influence, but it can't act. Without physical presence and lacking consciousness, it doesn't reason, while accommodating or tolerating contradiction and disagreement. Influence depends on people choosing to act on information or prompts. They have the agency, abstractions don't. But individuals can feel that they accord agency to an abstraction by acting on its behalf, and this can generate a delusion of immense power and significance. Lone avengers believe they're heroic, acting in the name of a greater good. Whether Anne's murderer was a hitman or not, it's almost certain she was punished for having a mind of her own. The bitterness of this ghastly execution is that extreme. Ideologues are noted for an iron streak of inhumanity, poisoning their souls. The plan for utopia and forcing conformity on everyone is so important to them that for those who oppose the ultimate morally correct and perfect political plans must either be forced to conform, manipulated to change human nature, theirs, or executed. Marxist dictators are very good at following these imperatives, and, were it not for post-World War II elimination of right-wing ideology, the same applies. But we still had Pinochet, Franco, and a sprinkling of other very nasty pieces of work. Society is highly sophisticated, complex, malleable and influential. It's essential to civilization. In perverse circumstances, it can turn on itself. Home to all political theories, prejudices, hopes, fears, language, and any amount of stupidity and wisdom. Without it, humans could not operate or cooperate. Civilization is stripped of it, collapses, taking everyone down. Rousseau's claim that society corrupts otherwise noble savages is as false as saying that society could exist without people necessary to make the intersubjective, where abstractions exist. At the heart of Rousseau's philosophy is a cake-and-eat-it circularity. People make society, but society makes them bad. So we must be prevented from making something that makes us bad to make us good. But trust, essential for cooperation, relies on mutual agreement, meaning a plan is to destroy trust to make people good. In other words, distrust is the foundation of a better world. No wonder Marxist states major on compulsory obedience, fear and judicial murder to force people to be good. Feed Rousseau's force to be free. Society is bad. Let's eliminate it to make a better world. Whoops. We just destroyed what's essential for trust. Don't worry. Fear and force will substitute for social trust, and heaven on earth, a phrase used by Marx, will be for all, except those with minds of their own, like Widdicombe. The irony is, if the assassin felt he was acting on behalf of society, in executing someone deemed elementally inhuman and immoral, he shares something in his head to be found in elected democratic politicians and in the nature of democracy. Democracy accords agency to what sense can be made from society through a lens of reason. It's an engine of reason in harmony with the third paradox. It is possible the murderer felt similar justification as democratically elected politicians in their duty to protect the system while doing the best for society. The irony is so bitter as to render the word inadequate. Democracy considers society making as much sense out of it as reason and practicality permit. With an eye on MPs' delegated duty to defend and promote democracy, legislation is repealed, amended and created depending on circumstances, but always with an eye on what is dynamic utopia, being the best that can be done, and I write this in capital letters, in the circumstances. Forgive me, this is so important. Utopianism is authoritarian by definition, but this simple observation rescues hope of utopia from total condemnation that ideological utopianism so richly deserves. Demands of humanity are constant, but the means of humanity and civilization constantly change. Democracy changes as society changes in response to the inevitable, that change happens. Ideology does not change. Ideological regimes contain the seeds of their own destruction. For all their good intentions, it's only a matter of time before they turn on society, destroying trust by resort to rule by fear, inhumanity and murder, culminating, in all too many cases, in oceans of blood. So we are back to artificial stupidity, psychopathy and inhumanity of self-justifying, closed-system political thinking. The murder of politicians and people with minds of their own, sadly they're almost distinct categories, is a consequence of Olympian arrogance, that it's a good thing to destroy society and hold democracy in contempt. I've got a couple of notes at the bottom on the written transcript. I won't bother reciting them to you now. The first one I can do quickly, which is Marx's remark about heaven and earth, came from a speech he made called La Liberté in 1872. I think it was to some workmen in the Netherlands. And the paradox is the reason. The third one, which I mentioned, I'll leave the other two so you can just look at them, is that logic can't accept contradiction as any meaning because it's intrinsically false. So it follows suspension of law of contradiction allows access to logic. To be logical and reasonable, you must, at least temporarily, be illogical. In other words, contradiction needs to be rescued from itself. The political implications of this, of course, are enormous, because humans, at the heart of human understanding, lies that ability to take contradiction seriously and give it meaning. And it follows, too, in the process of making laws and in engaging with society, which is riddled with contradiction, incoherence, as well as wisdom and sense, you need to do the same thing to be able to squeeze the best out of it, so that laws and government are run in a humane fashion, reflecting the nature of humanity itself and reason. Marxism doesn't do this. Marxism is a brutal, inhuman logic mincer. It crushes humanity. People are treated in Marxism as tools to justify the theory. The theory is master above all else. And there are a few, usually at the top, who do very well at it, thank you very much, doing the work of the priestly goodness for the good of the abstractions of the political theory. Human beings are irrelevant. It's abstractions that are important. It's a ghastly, ghastly thing. And yet, today, we see ideological politics returning in its full evil horror. And if we let it go on without intellectual opposition to remove the mask and reveal the ogre of authoritarianism beneath, we could return to very serious war, which we had in the middle of the 20th century. It's not as if there wasn't a lesson given to us. It's just that we couldn't be bothered to learn from it. Instead, academia did exactly what it shouldn't do. That was to hold democracy in contempt and to adopt the closed system of Marxism as the root of all goodness and sense and political and social consideration. It is, from an outsider looking at it in history, maybe 100 or 200 years' time, would think society has lost its mind. It isn't society. It's those who should be treating society with respect, but instead they want to destroy it. And they really do need to be stopped, because this is a very serious business. Thanks again. I'll push up another one later on. I quite liked Anne Widdicombe. A little bit creepy in my opinion in some ways, but she certainly had a mind of her own and she had guts. I admire that enormously. It's something which most modern politicians have no idea about, and they really couldn't care less. Bye for now.